Just like we did with Moxie, we're always looking for something that's a little bit different that makes the Nunnsense part of the Culinary Nunnsense. So either it's healthier, it's a new twist, or it's just tastier. This one kind of brings all of that into it. It's the same thing you've been doing on your Taco Tuesdays, but we're going to step away from the zip open bag and or the box. We're going to do it with fresh spices. We're going to do it with some background flavors, and we're going to do it without a shell. Oh yeah, and that's coming up on Culinary Nunnsense. What separates this from the stuff that you may get from those zip open bags or rip open bags is that we're going to use just the ingredients we want for flavor. It's not going to have the anti-caking stuff in it. It's not going to have the MSGs in it. So what we have here really simply is chili powder. We have some smoked paprika because I like the smokiness. We've also got right there, that's the hot stuff, some cayenne, cumin. You can't have tacos without cumin, and then a little bit of onion. Now all of these are just the ground spice without all of the extra stuff, but it starts with some background flavor, and for me it all begins right here. A hot pan and a nice sweet onion. I like the sweet onion for the sweet, the savory, and that little bit of a crunch that it's going to add for the background of the taco. Once those start to get soft and fragrant, it's going to take a minute, 2 minutes maybe, then we can add some diced peppers. I had some of those left over, so we've got yellow and orange, and it's going to add some nice color to the pan as well. Peppers are getting soft, the onions continue to get softer, soon we'll start to look for them to caramelize, and here's where you want to add some of your tomato. These are canned, diced tomatoes, and they're the ones that are fire roasted, so again reinforcing that smoky flavor. The reason I like to add these now is they'll actually start to cook down and turn almost into a tomato paste, which is going to intensify that tomato flavor. Again, it's all about the background, building those layers of flavor that go just beyond the rip open pack. All right, when you look at the pan, you're starting to see some of the color, not only on the tomato, which most of the juice is cooked out, but you're starting to see the onions also get some flavor. This is the time where you want to add the meat. If we wait too long before the onions fully start to caramelize, even though we're going to add the meat to it, what ends up happening is the onion keeps cooking, so it turns into little burnt pieces instead of little sweet, delicious pieces inside the meat. Now here's something we learned at Moxie. Fresh ground is best. So if you're at the grocery store, don't be afraid to ask the butcher, do you guys grind your own meat? If so, which one of these is your own and when was it ground? This is a fresh ground meat that they do in-house where I like to shop, so you end up with something that's about an 80-20 mix. It's got a little bit more fat than I would like, but let's face it, fat is flavor. You're starting to see some of the juice that's coming out of the meat. This is where you want to add the spices. I'm going to sprinkle all the way across the top and reserve just a little bit here because I want to double that up. So I'm just going to cut that into it so it starts to cook into that, because a lot of that, the liquid right now is water. That will evaporate, that leaves that intense spice flavor, and the rest of it that's fat, I'll show you a little trick that we do at the house to allow the fat to separate, so we reduce as much of it as we can. I don't want a big fat burger here or a big fatty taco, but I do want that flavor. All right, I want you to take a look. A lot of the water is evaporated, but what is left is the fat. Now I could sit here and try to skim all the fat off, but here's a little trick that I like. Push all the meat over to one side of the pan, and if you have a trivet and or what I have over here, a spoon holder, we're going to put the pan on, the meat side on the little spoon holder, and we're going to let gravity do its thing. And there you go. You can already see just how much of the fat and the liquid here is draining away from the meat. Now the reason I leave the heat on it is to keep the fat in a more viscous, liquidy kind of form, so that will allow more of that to come out and fill in. But when you think about 1 pound of meat and you look at this is quite a bit of fat. So by doing this, we're going to alleviate a lot of that. We'll end up with a slightly less fat, I won't say fat-free, but a slightly less fat taco. While the fat continues to drain, it's time to get our shells ready. There's a number of ways you can go when it comes to making these tacos. If you want to go real lean, you can do the ground chicken and or you can do the ground turkey. Ground turkey breast is leaner than the regular ground turkey, but sometimes you got that flavor for the meat. So we're going to take a little bit of the fat out by straining it the way we did, and also not by putting it in those corn tortillas that are also filled up, read the box, with some junk. Instead, we're going to use some romaine lettuce leaf, and look at that. It supports the whole thing. You can also use those little hydroponic bib lettuces. They work pretty good as well. I think when you ditch the shell and you go ahead, take that extra minute or two and allow the grease to drain from your beef, season it yourself, not the stuff that comes in those packs. It's got a much better flavor. I think when you bite into this crunchy deliciousness, you too will be saying, when it comes to a healthier version for taco night, there is none better.